Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United of the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. But the whistle goes down. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United, the National League, are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Sunday service on the Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. Joining me today is Mark Bravery. Hi, Mark.
Hiya, hi everybody.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Just about recovered from yesterday.
Yes, nice. Lots of travel problems, and this is why I don't go away. No. Yeah, I did see there were quite a few interesting travel stories coming home. Where was it you got stuck again? Sorry.
Well, I turned up at Stoke Station for my train at 12 minutes past 8 and it was cancelled. So I had to wait an hour for the next one. Luckily, there was the next one, but I had to kill an hour in a nearby pub, which is, as you can imagine, a great hardship for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it means I didn't get home until about midnight. I know some people got in even later than that, so I'm not as badly off as some.
So onto the game. Sorry, I was supposed to do the old proper introductions. This is how great I am. Obviously, currently live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So join in the chats and all the rest of it. Nice and seamless, professional that I am. So the game yesterday, the lineup was announced with a lot of changes. I did my fan hub guess the starting lineup, and I think I got 5 out of the 11. It was good to see a few players back from injury.
There were 9 players missing on Tuesday at Oldham, but 6 of those were back yesterday, and 4 of them started. Mm-hmm. So there were quite a few changes. Louis John was back, Joe Kizzy was back, Donovan Wilson was back, and Craig Eastman, the 4th one, I think.
Eastie was back.
With Tanto and Will Randall on the bench.
Yeah.
And both of those came on, of course. So all 6 of the returning players played some part in the game yesterday, which is good. Got more bodies back for next weekend. But obviously there's a little bit of lack of match fitness. I think that might have been a contributory factor to the result yesterday.
Yeah, it wasn't. It's always difficult because we're in a bit of a slump, which you always knew was going to happen at some stage, but it's happening at the business end stage. Had it happened sort of 8 weeks ago, it would have been never mind. But now it's kind of like it's just so close to securing some playoff spots. Although it's still quite close.
Well, we're 10th, but are only 2 points behind, I think, 4 clubs on 63 points, all of which are in the playoff slot. So, we're not far off. But this month has been brutal. I mean, we played 7 matches in just over 3 weeks, 5 of them away. So a lot of football, a lot of travelling, and with a fairly stretched squad, that's going to take its toll. And I think there was a certain amount of fatigue probably playing its part, yesterday. But our form actually isn't that bad. We've won 2 of the last 6, including that win at Oldham, which lifted everybody's spirits. I think for those of us that are up there in particular, we've made the journey twice in the space of a few months. And we got after Wembley, we've got 7 league games left, 21 points to play for. 4 of those games are at home. Only 2 of them are against other sides in the promotion mix. So I think the target's probably going to be something like 14 points from those last 7 games, say 4 wins, 2 draws. That you can't be certain because it's so tight, but that probably would secure us a playoff spot.
Yeah, I mean, some of the teams that are still in there. You've got, Exeter are a little bit sort of ahead of us all, but they've still got four of the top 10 to play.
They have
their 8 games. Then you've got Port Vale still have another 3 to play, and Newport have got 4 to play. Bristol Rovers have got 3 to play. Tranmere only have 2. Mansfield have got just like a million games left, and they've got 4 to play, and Swindon have got 2 as well. So we've only got 2. So hopefully we will pick up. Our two's against, one of them's against Mansfield, who may well be knackered by the time they play us, because you said our punishing schedule. They seem to have been playing on Saturday, Tuesday forever, and they've still got it all the way through. But it's a bit difficult going down. The first goal, from what I've seen, is a good save by Dean, and kind of everyone seemed to stop. Their player then scored on the rebound, and the second goal, I still don't understand why the scissor kicks look so spectacular, because it doesn't do an awful lot, but it did look spectacular, and it did look a very good goal.
It was a great finish. Hats off to the player, Jamie Proctor, I think it was. For that one.
DeCanio Proctor, they're calling him now. I think it was something like 23 years ago. DeCanio did almost exactly the same kind of kick. So. But 2-0 down. I did open up the old Betfair app and thought, right, let's see, can we do this again? And let lightning strike twice. But unfortunately, there was a bit of huffing and puffing, a few half chances that I sort of was listening to. But it didn't seem like it was going to happen yesterday. Was that the feeling there, or? Yeah,
I think once you went 2-0 down, it was always going to be hard away against a good side like Port Vale, who was up against it. And Joe Kizzy hit the bar with a header, as you probably saw. But apart from that, we didn't threaten much. A couple of shots over the bar. We didn't really test their keeper. That said, apart from the 2 goals, I don't think Dean Bazanis had a great deal to do. I can't remember making any sort of really noteworthy saves during the game. So, our defence didn't actually do too badly overall.
Yeah. There's a lot of comments about the sort of stewarding and whatnot up there. Was it all that bad? Or?
We were asked to sort of empty our pockets, which is not something you normally encounter away fixtures. But once I got in, I didn't have any issue with the stewarding. There were a lot of them there. I heard some story about them following people into toilets and things. That didn't happen to me. If it did, I didn't notice. So I didn't have a particularly bad or strange experience, but I think 1 or 2 of our other fans may have done.
Yeah, I had one who was told to move from their place in the queue for a drink and to go round the barriers or something, and they were like literally the only person there. So it's like, oh, come on, don't be silly. That kind of thing just irritates me. I know I would have got proper round up by that kind of stuff. Just annoys. But it's a bit disappointed. There's a bit of a chat on the forum, which I'm sure everyone knows, the Amber Planet forum. But if you don't, Google Amber Planet. Of possibly, is it the cup run affecting our league form, or I haven't read through every response. Did you read that one today, or?
I haven't read all of it. I've seen some of it. I think probably because of the sheer number of games, the cup run has had some impact, but I don't think it's had a huge impact on the league form.
Yeah,
and we had quite a few Papa John games early in the season, and then a few December, January, and we were going all right in the league for most of those sort of periods. So I think, as I said, any impact was relatively minor. I don't think we've dropped a lot of points as a consequence of that run.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think promotion was really on the cards. Yes, it's nice that we've been at the right end of the table for the whole season, but I don't think anyone is really on the cards. I would quite like it because some of my mates support AFC Wimbledon and they look like they're dead and buried. And to pass them, that would be a very selfish, pleasing moment for me. But a day out at Wembley. So I think the gist of it was, yes, a day out at Wembley, nice, but we've got to worry about our EFL survival. I'm not sure that what we do this season is going to necessarily affect next season, because if anything, it only raises our profile a little bit and has people potentially wanting to come to Sutton. What I think personally, and it's difficult to say it, and it's not as a criticism, but I think since the end of January, when we kind of hit that 48-point mark, despite, we've got to keep going, at the back of our mind, it's all like, we're okay now. And I think we've kind of injuries, lots of clubs around us has strengthened, which is something at the time what was a bit like, oh God, we don't really know what we're doing in the transfer window because we've never had to deal with it. But what are your thoughts? You kind of, would you have given up a day at Wembley to get promoted, or?
I don't see the two as mutually exclusive. I don't think you trade one off against the other. I think we could do both. We've got our day at Wembley secured now. That's definitely happening. And as I said earlier, we're still very much in the hunt for a playoff place. But if we end up finishing 8th, 9th, or 10th, that will still have been a great season, better than most of us, I think, would have expected back last summer. So, although it's disappointing to drop out of the promotion race, having been up there pretty much all season, ever since sort of September or so. If you look back, the whole season, and we end up finishing, as I say, round about 9th, I think that's still a remarkable achievement, and that as a double with the, with the Wembley appearance, however that ends up. But I think once we've got John's occasion behind us, I think the focus will be back on the league with those 7 games.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what? I haven't even looked. When was our next game after? So we get the Tuesday off after the final as well.
That's right. So our next game is Orient, I think, on the following Saturday. So there's 6 days between Wembley and the next league game.
Yeah, so that's going to give us a goodish run to get some people back. So it could actually be a real bonus because we've had this gap.
Yeah.
I know it's a match, but it's going to be a match that people are going to get through on just pure excitement of being there. I know one or two players have been there before.
Yeah. Obviously, it's going to be a great occasion for the club and for the players and the fans. A lot of our fans will never have seen Sutton play at Wembley. Indeed, many weren't even born in 1981 when Sutton were last there. I've certainly never seen Sutton play at Wembley. So it's a great occasion for the club and everybody associated with it. But if we manage to win next Sunday, then that's going to inject a real feel-good factor into the club and may propel us into a playoff place. If we lose, I think it's a case of, well, we just did very well to get to Wembley, get to the final. Let's just concentrate on the league now, dust ourselves down, and I think that will be the attitude. If we don't succeed in the final.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think I said already. It was in the morning after the Wigan match, sitting down to breakfast, just looking through the social media, suddenly realising, hang on, it's not just about getting to Wembley. There's a trophy to play for here. That part of it was completely like, oh my God, there's more to come. I
gather that the office phone was ringing, within a few minutes of that Dean Bazanis penalty save. And the next day was just in the office that Wednesday. It was just crazy. I wasn't there myself. I was in the next day, so I gather it was just crazy with the number of calls and emails coming in. Including, I gather there was a call from a firm of gentlemen's outfitters on the Wednesday asking if the club had arranged the players' Wembley final suits.
Oh, my God. Well, just mad excitement. I mean, I think the last update was 12,000 tickets sold.
Yeah, that's what I heard, yeah.
Just incredible, really. And we've still got a possible payday boost to come as well, because it's not the end of the month yet. So hopefully sort of Wednesday, or Thursday, Friday, when people get their money, they'll suddenly be like, right, come on, tickets. So you never know, we could just go loads, which would be just completely insane to be sort of standing there at Wembley looking at all these other people supporting our little Sutton United. Where we're going to put them all next season, I don't know, but we might have to put up big screens in the park or something. But just before we sort of finish on the Port Vale match, can I have a few nominations for a player of the day? Now, I'm going to reiterate, player of the day doesn't necessarily mean man of the match. It just means any reason why a specific player should get a mention. So
okay, I've been having a little think about this. It was difficult to pick anyone out because I don't think the team played particularly well yesterday for reasons that we discussed. The fatigue, and number of players coming back from injury, and to be fair, we were playing a very good side away from home, so all those factors sort of conspired against us. At the same time, I don't think any of our players had a particularly bad game. It was just the overall team performance was just a bit below par. I thought Ben Wyatt had a pretty good game. He's been playing a lot of football recently because obviously Rob Wilson's been out, so he's been playing regularly at left back, having been second choice left back for most of the season. I don't think he was at fault for either of the goals, and he was getting forward well, putting some crosses in. I know Julian said on Amber Planet that he overhit some balls, and I'm not disputing that, but I thought we showed plenty of energy as he has in previous games, and he did. He's one of the few players who sort of stood out a little bit for me. Omar put in, a lot of work up front, as he always does. He can get in front of goal, but he battled away. And Joe Kizzy, I suppose you ought to mention, because he came closest to scoring, and he scored a lot of goals for us lately. Great. But he hit the goal with that chance. So Harry Beauty had quite a good game midfield, I thought.
Yeah.
I think I'll stop there.
Yeah, that'll do. That's 4. That's perfect. And one other thing, just as you were talking there, I suddenly was just thinking that the commentary I was listening to, there seemed to be, especially in the first half, quite a few people, not just on our side, but on theirs as well, sort of treading on the ball. So I know Donovan had a break early in the first half, and he ended up taking the ball down nicely, turning, and then standing on the ball, and then a couple others doing it as well.
I can't.
No, fair enough. That's fine. I was like, what was wrong with the ball yesterday? Why was everyone treading on it? Okay, well, very quickly, because we're going to do a show on Saturday. I haven't quite worked out the details yet, everyone, but we're going to do something on Saturday where I'm going to try and get a few different people on to talk about the excitement of the Cup. But very, very quickly, Rotherham have been going really well, but they've had a little bit of a blip themselves in recent weeks. So do you want to sort of try and give a little talk about it next week, or do you defer on that?
I won't say too much about it. I don't know a vast amount about Rotherham. I have seen them fairly recently because you might recall a few seasons ago we had a game up at AFC Fylde called off at short notice. The team couldn't get up by train because there was unfortunately a fatality on the track, but some of us fans were already up in the Blackpool area. So we went to see Blackpool play Rotherham that day. And so, some of us have seen Rotherham play. I saw a little bit of their playoff, Papa John's playoff game against, or semi-final, I should say, against Hartlepool.
Yeah.
The impression I have is that we're often described as a bit physical and direct, but compared with Rotherham, I think we're possibly sort of shrinking violets. I mean, they've got a lot of big units. They got a very big striker up front, Michael Smith, I think his name is. And they pump the ball forward, and they're a real threat in the air. So I'm sure Matt will have done his homework and he'll know the sort of challenge that they will present. But it's going to be a physical battle, I think. need to be prepared for that. It won't be the prettiest game in the world, but you've always got a chance. And Rotherham's priority might be getting promoted back to the Championship. I would imagine they put out a strong side at Wembley, but they'll be more focused on promotion from their division than we are. So for us, the league is less of a priority. So that might just work in our favour. But in a one-off game, anything can happen, and we've already beaten 3 League One clubs in this Papa John's run. We've beaten AFC Wimbledon, we've beaten Portsmouth, and we've beaten Wigan, admittedly on penalties. So I don't think we need fear Rotherham, and I'm sure that will be Matt's line. Where we respect them, but we don't fear them.
Yeah, no. Again, I did hope in the semi-finals when the draw was being made, it would be us against Rotherham or Wigan and Hartlepool against the other. And I had hoped that we would both win, ourselves and Hartlepool, because they're both battling for the league. Hartlepool unfortunately lost on penalties. But then that's actually turned out to be the best thing, because Hartlepool are actually playing really well at the moment. So who knows? It'll be just fun. I keep saying it, I'm boring. I know. I'm just going to be so delighted to be there, looking around where most of us are all going to be in the same section, and just see some of the faces of people who've been to some park pitches, basically, to be at Wembley. So it's going to be brilliant. So I will wrap up there and just follow on the socials. Give us a shout on any of the socials. It's a bit of a short one today, but we're going to be back on Wednesday, where all things being equal, I should have an interview with both Bruce and Matt, 2 separate interviews, not at the same time. I don't think I could cope with that. And following Saturday, as I say, I'm going to try and do a live stream where we get a few people on at the same time, but I've got to work out some details on that. But thank you for listening. Thank you for your time, Mark. And
no worries.
See you all soon. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thanks, Mike. Bye.
United! 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 United!